Now you're probably thinking, how could a guy like that be a sleeper pick? Well, he is currently projected to be a 4th-round pick on most mock drafts and is ranked as the 25th receiver on PFF's big board. I suspect it's probably something to do with his height. He is listed at 5'8" and is mostly played in the slot. But as I've been told my whole life, size isn't everything. Every year, there are tons of players that come out after the first round and turn into stars for their team. These players were overlooked throughout the whole draft process. Names like Puka Nacua, Jake Ferguson, Jack Jones, Ron Bland, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and George Kittle are some of the most recent ones that come to mind. But honestly, I could go on for hours naming guys that have got lost in the draft shuffle and end up being steals of the draft. Well, today, B and I are going to bring some love to these guys early so you can get excited when you hear their name called on draft night. If you are looking for another diamond in the rough, then I highly recommend going down and hitting the subscribe button because you, my friend, have struck gold finding this video.
They definitely have. And as E mentioned at the top of this video, there are tons of guys that a lot of fans on Twitter or Facebook, wherever you hang out at, don't really talk about. They kind of just stay hidden throughout that draft process. But they end up making a huge impact for their teams. And they can even end up being stars, kind of like what you had said. So it's easy to get swept up in the big names and the first round grades and stuff like that. But most of the rosters are built off day 3 guys or just purely undrafted guys. In fact, 30% of the NFL is made up of undrafted players. Now, we aren't saying that our draft sleepers in this segment will not get drafted, but none are likely to go in the first round. That's why they're sleepers. So we still expect them to be hearing their names when football season comes around. But again, these are sleepers.
So first on our list, we have a real sleeper here. We have wide receiver Malik Washington out of Virginia. Washington is an explosive receiver that is stashed on the Northwestern roster for 4 years before finally transferring to Virginia and having a ridiculous final year. He had 110 catches. And I'm going to repeat that because that's a lot. He had 110 catches and over 1,400 yards in only 12 games. Guys, that is ridiculous. I mean, that's kind of mind-boggling numbers here. That's averaging, what is that, 9 catches a game? Something like that?
Yeah.
Check my math for me, guys. Now, you're probably thinking, how could a guy like that be a sleeper pick? Well, he is currently projected to be a 4th-round pick on most mock drafts and is ranked as the 25th receiver on PFF's big board. I suspect it's probably something to do with his height. He is listed at 5'8" and is mostly played in the slot. But as I've been told my whole life, size isn't everything. He brought in PFF's 3rd highest grade on the season for a wide receiver with a grade of 91.1. He is also ranked near the top in receiving grade, man coverage grade, and contested catch percentage. This dude can flat out ball.
Yeah, dude, that dude is a stud. Next, we have actually one of my favorite prospects in this class, and that's linebacker Payton WIlson out of NC State. Wilson is an absolute disruptor on defense. This dude can't fly. He just runs off this pure speed. He recorded a speed of 23 miles per hour against Notre Dame, dude. This guy is a linebacker. According to PFF, he is also tied for the lowest missed tackle percentage of any linebacker coming into this draft. And his missed tackle rate is 4.7%. So, like Michael Myers, when he catches you, your ass ain't going anywhere, dude. He also has a coverage grade rating of over 90, which is the highest among linebackers. However, the biggest concern with Wilson is that the defensive system that he played with at NC State might not translate well to the NFL. NC State runs a 3-3-5 defense, which puts a heavy focus on stopping air raid passing, and not really stopping the run because they're really light in the box kind of. So, but Wilson's fantastic instinct should kind of help him out, and he should adjust quickly to the NFL game and the NFL like rushing attack and be able to attack those lanes. So while most of the buzz is kind of around names like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Edgerrin Cooper, Wilson could end up being the best linebacker in this class
Moving from the Southeast to the Pacific Northwest, we have Washington edge Bralen Trice. Bralen is another guy that can just wreak havoc on opposing offenses. He had just under 100 hurries in the last 2 seasons. That means just under 100 times he's impacting the quarterback in a game. The most of any player in this draft class. While most fans are focused on names like Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, and Latu, Trice has kind of fallen to the wayside. He is currently slated as PFF's 9th highest graded edge in the draft, and most mocks have him going somewhere in the 2nd round. The biggest knock against him right now is his tackling. He had a 24% missed tackle rate last season, which is just flat out not good. But something like that can easily be cleaned up with better coaching. This guy has first-round talent and will be a steal for some lucky team.
And to go into our 4th player on this list, we have Gabriel Murphy, one of the twin defensive ends from UCLA. Murphy has partially been overshadowed by his rushing mate, and I'm always gonna get this name wrong, so I'm sorry. Latu. I think I said it right, maybe. Hopefully, I'm sorry out there, Latu. If you hear this, I'm sorry. He was a monster at UCLA, and he put on a show at the Senior Bowl. But Murphy has been dominant in his own right, putting up 75 hurries over the last 2 seasons. So he pretty much lives in that like backfield. If there's a pass play, he is back there. He's currently projected to be a 4th round pick in most mock drafts. But that actually feels kind of low for a guy that has 75 pressures in 2 seasons. Like, he just lives back there. The biggest concern, again, with him is his tackling. He had a missed tackle rate of 25% last season. And that was the highest of his career. So could this be a really bad outlier? The 2 seasons prior, to give you some guys some context here, he only had a missed tackle rate of 9.5%. So again, that's a much better number. He could be a guy that gets his start in the NFL as kind of one of those like rotational guys before he really blossomed to a full-time starter.
So
yeah.
For our last player, we have a unique one here. He is the blindside protector, but he plays right tackle. That's because he is playing for a left-handed quarterback. I am talking about Washington's Roger Rosengarten. He gave up 0 sacks, again, 0 sacks over his 2 years protecting Penix, and only allowed 5 hits in over 1,300 pass blocking snaps. He is a better pass blocker than a run blocker, though. He has a feistiness to him, but he lacks the actual strength to be able to consistently move players on drive blocks. So he is currently projected as a mid-5th round pick, but he brings the right kind of mindset to develop into a guy that could surprise people by taking over a starting job somewhere come September.
I just had to shake my head when you said he allowed 5 hits and 1,300 pass blocking reps. That's crazy. 5th round pick. I don't know about that, dude. Come on. But y'all, those are our 5 sleepers for this upcoming draft. Let us know what you think. Is there a player that you think isn't getting enough love right now? We would love to hear your thoughts. And again, until next time, it's been the RFL Show.